Can you see Shirin?
Yep, it's recording.
Okay. This is our little girl Shirin. She's real cute, sleeping.
So yeah, we just got back from the hospital.
Yeah.
And everything's going well. She just ate. Now she's sleeping like she usually does. She's been sleeping most of the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we want to make a video to share the labor story with you, so we don't have to, write it down, but we want to be able to remember it and everything. So
yes.
Anyway, Nadine can start because it started earlier for her than for me.
It was so easy. I'm already starting to forget how it all went down. But yeah, I guess it was Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night, November 31st, and
November 30th.
Oh, November 30th, because there's no 31st. And
Nadine's mom had left that morning about 6 a.m.
Yeah, I dropped her off in the morning at the airport at 6 a.m. and then throughout the day I had breakfast with some girlfriends, and I went to a party barn decorating class, and I came home and then decorated the house with all this Christmas stuff. And I noticed I was having some pains, but I just thought they were, I don't know, some cramping. And then that's it. We just we decided that night around 7 or 8 that we should, it was getting close to the due date, so we should start packing our hospital bag and make the list of people we're going to send an email to when she decided to come. But we thought we were ahead of schedule, so Greg made a list of stuff to pack for the bags, and I started about 8 o'clock. I think I started packing the bags and everything, and then I noticed that I was having some more pains and I was tired because I didn't get much sleep the night before. So from about 9 to 10 p.m. I decided to take a nap. So I slept for a bit, and I could tell I was still having some pains, but I could sleep through them. And about 10 o'clock I woke up because I hadn't finished packing the bags and was trying to decide whether I wanted to go to sleep or not, for the night. So decided, yeah, I should just get ready for bed, and Greg decided to come to bed too, and I think it was around 11 or something. We went to bed, 11 or 12, and I tried to sleep, and Greg fell asleep because, it was nighttime. And then I think about 1:30, the pains were pretty bad, so I just woke up, and I knew that there were contractions, or I thought there were contractions, but then I wanted to change position and see if they would go away. So I came downstairs and walked for about an hour just around the living room and put hash marks every time I'd have a pain, and kept my goal of let's see what happens for an hour, and I kept my hash marks, and then decided to sit for about an hour and keep putting hash marks, and paid some bills online and looked at the doctor's office to see who was on call that night. And it was Dr. Iqbal. And then my goal was to make it to about 4 a.m. and then I thought I'd wake Greg up and see what he thought. So I didn't actually time the contractions by then, but 4 a.m. I went upstairs and I woke up Greg, and I was like, I think maybe the little girl's coming today, I don't know. I want you to start timing these contractions because I can't concentrate enough to time them. So
I went online to look for a contraction timer, and of course there is one. Contraction Master I went to. And to start and stop the timer, you have to hit the space bar. So anytime Nadine was in pain, she would just yell out, "Space bar!" And we hit the space bar, and we could time the contractions that way. And we did that for, I guess, a couple of hours, keeping track of them. And, they were 3 to 5 minutes apart, lasting about a minute or so. And so it seemed like, probably the real thing.
But I wasn't sure.
I was pretty sure, but she was not convinced.
Because I never wanted to look to see how long they were or anything. I just was trying to rest, and then, yeah, I just didn't know if they were real or not, and I didn't want to go to the hospital or the doctor's office and then have them tell me to come back home, so.
But I was still sort of packing everything up, getting everything ready to go, and, she was having the contractions and getting ready at the same time, and then around 7:30 or so, we knew that the doctor's office was going to open, and so we called the dispatch, and they said, well, you can either go to the hospital or you can come to the doctor's office. And so I came downstairs and asked Nadine what she wanted to do, and of course, since she didn't really think it was real, she's like, oh, I don't want to go to the hospital, I'll just go to the doctor's office. So.
Doctor's office for sure.
So we got in the car to go to the doctor's office, and of course now this is close to 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's rush hour traffic, and it took forever to get down to the doctor's office. And but Nadine kind of had her eyes closed during the whole car trip, and she didn't know that there was traffic. Yeah. But there was one point where she opened up her eyes at the light at 2222 and said, I hate this light.
I do, because when I drive to work, even when that's backed up, you have to wait a couple of lights before you can get through, and
But then, I just kept counting down how far we were. I'm like, okay, and finally we're like 100 feet away. All right, we're almost there. And so
it's amazing how you notice the roads are really bumpy when you're having contractions. It's not very fun.
So we got to the doctor's office, and we went upstairs, and everyone could kind of tell that, Nadine was not looking normal. She was walking a little different and everything, but they got her back there, and they, on the whole ride over, I was telling Nadine, hey, let's take a bet. How dilated do you think you are? I was thinking, maybe she's about 4 centimeters or so, right? And Nadine was like 0.
I just didn't think it was real.
So anyway, we get to the doctor's office. They finally go and they check her out, and they say, you're 9 centimeters. And then Nadine got really, really happy.
Yes, that was my favorite part, because then I knew that it was actually happening, and I wouldn't have to go home with that same pain and just wait it out. So 9 centimeters, I was very happy.
Yeah, but the people in the doctor's office were panicking, because if she got to 9 centimeters without feeling it, the baby's probably just going to fall out. So they were sort of just running around with their heads cut off till they got a wheelchair. Nadine had to stand in the hallway for a couple of contractions while they got this wheelchair. And
other patients were going by.
Yeah, everyone had these concerned looks on their faces. But they got in the wheelchair to wheel her over to the hospital, which seemed a little silly because I could have just driven her over there. Actually, while they were wheeling her across the street to the hospital, I got in the car and actually drove past them and caught up with them. So.
And it was so crazy in the wheelchair because they had to go up and down all these ramps and everything. So they had to turn me around and pull and then push. And finally, I don't know, about 50 feet from the emergency room door, they got to this ramp, and there's actually stairs that they had to go down. And at that point, I was like, I'm just walking to the door because this is ridiculous. So I just stood up from the wheelchair, and the 2 ladies from the doctor's office were all panicking, and I just start walking myself into the emergency room while they're dragging the wheelchair. It was pretty funny.